And now, the general weather around Alaska.
All right, up first here, warnings chart showing red shaded areas here indicating winter storm warnings out. Yukon Delta, Seward Peninsula, Noatak Valley down in toward Kotzebue, northwest coast, and the western Arctic coast there from Point Hope, Cape Lisburne on up to Point Lay with a winter weather advisory out for the central Arctic coast. Winter weather advisory out also here in the Brooks Range down into the northern Koyukuk Valley. And the eastern Yukon Delta, Kuskokwim Delta, winter weather advisory out tonight, as well as for Nunivak Island and St. Lawrence Island. That all for the strong winds and heavy snow that's been going on in those areas, resulting in the low visibilities. And from there, looking, since this is Flood Awareness Safety Week, or the second day of the Awareness Week, we'll look at the flood warnings, watches, and advisories, and what they mean. Well, flood warning is you need to take action. Hazardous flooding is imminent, is already occurring. Let's put it that way. And a flood watch is be prepared for flood conditions because conditions are favorable for a specific flood or hazard event. And then, let me get out of the way here, a flood advisory. That's to be aware that that may cause significant inconvenience. And from there, looking at satellite imagery, you can see system moving up, came through the Aleutians earlier yesterday, tracking northward west of the Pribilof Islands today, bringing strong winds from the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, as well as the Pribilofs along the southwest coast, all the way up to the western Arctic coast today, with snow falling all through this area. Drier conditions to the east, a lot of sunshine again, south central Alaska. Increasing clouds over Kodiak Island don't show up too well here. The lower type clouds actually streaming northward across the island into the Barren Islands actually by late this afternoon, reaching southern Cook Inlet. Lots of sunshine over the southeast interior, and a few showers early on over the southern panhandle, but those have moved out, and just decreasing clouds, increasing sunshine for the panhandle now continue for a couple of days. And rolling this again, you can see that low tracking northeastward here, and on the chart just east of St. Matthew Island or so, with a front right along the Yukon Delta coast, bringing strong south to southeast winds here with snow and blowing snow coastal areas of the Yukon Kuskokwim Delta from Cape Neuenhem all the way up to Cape Lisburne, seeing gusts of 60 to 65 miles an hour ahead of this front earlier today for the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula area, with winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour in gusts here for the southwest coast and the Pribilof Islands. Those coming down this afternoon again as the front pushed eastward. But strong winds had a gust to 71 miles per hour reported at Cape Romanzoff this afternoon. And up to the north there, another windy location, normally windier location, Cape Lisburne at a gust of 74 miles per hour. Otherwise, light winds, good sunshine here over the southeast quarter of the state, right on up, clearing skies moving northward here. But that south to north flow hitting the Alaska or the Brooks Range, producing areas of light snow along the southern slopes of the Brooks Range, increasing sunshine for the panhandle, and these showers exiting the area tonight. Those will be gone, just mostly clear skies for the southeast coast into the Gulf of Alaska under high pressure. But again, with that increasing low-level cloud cover, increasing chances of moisture later tonight for the southern Kenai Peninsula on up along the western Alaska Range. Kodiak Islands could see an increasing chance of rain there. Periods of rain definitely for the Alaska Peninsula, tapering off over Unalaska Island. And then snow and blowing snow continue. This low tracking northward, slowly weakening, but enough wind to keep the winter storm warnings going from the Yukon Delta up to the western Arctic coast. And increasing clouds here in the central interior, mostly clear to the east, out west. Not a lot going on. Weak low here south of south-southwest of St. Matthew Island. Associated trough bringing rain and snow into the Aleutians, but not much in the way of wind. And then for tomorrow, that front kind of just washes out, left with a trough here, keeping periods of snow, diminishing snow, lighter snow, definitely lighter winds here for the Yukon Kuskokwim Delta, all the way up to the western Arctic coast. Still a little breezy there over the Brooks Range with areas of snow, mostly on the southern slopes of the Brooks Range. North slope to the Arctic coast, central east side there, dry conditions, but mostly cloudy. And increasing clouds, a little cloudier tomorrow over south central Alaska, but should be mostly clear yet the way it looks at this point in time. But a chance of showers there on the eastern Kenai Peninsula from Whittier on down maybe into Seward, but amounts will be very light, and the chance of moisture here for the western Alaska range. Sunshine for the day Tuesday here for the eastern interior down into the North Gulf Coast. Sunshine for Valdez to Yakutat, all the way down to the Queen Charlotte Islands across the Panhandle. This front down here you'll see shifts northward on Wednesday, so gale force winds, gusts of 50 miles an hour, will move into the Kodiak Island area tomorrow night and spread northward here toward the western North Gulf Coast areas. Kenai Peninsula increasing rain chances and wind throughout the day on Wednesday. Probably not much of that getting up in the northern Cook Inlet, but definitely becoming cloudier and windier there, especially through Turnagain Arm with that east to west pressure gradient. Or east to west here, the higher pressure to the east, lower pressure developing to the west along this trough, which will bring mixed precipitation here over the southwest interior into the Kuskokwim Valley, and a chance of snow here for the Yukon Delta coast with areas of snow, northern Bering Sea through the Bering Strait, but really drying out here over the western northwest part of the state, all the way up to the western Arctic coast. Still mostly sunny and warmer, highs pushing into the 50s. Eastern Copper River Basin into the mid and upper Tanana Valley area, 40-mile country, with pretty mild temperatures pushing up toward the eastern Arctic coast as well. Sunshine, highs in the 50s for the southeast coast with light winds and showers and gusty north winds for the eastern Bering Sea from the Pribilofs down to the Aleutians. And for the lows tonight, in the 30s out over the Aleutians, Bering Sea, teens and 20s over the western part of the state. And, well, actually teens and 20s all the way to the east, 5 to 15 for the Brooks Range, but everyone above zero now, mid-April, and right around 20 for the Copper River Basin, lower 30s for the southeast coast. Highs for tomorrow, lower to mid-50s for the Panhandle, mid to upper 40s to near 50 there for the eastern interior areas with good sunshine. Cooler 30s, 30 to lower 40s out toward the west, still in the 20s there for the Bering Strait, northwest coast, St. Lawrence Island, 30s for the Pribilofs and the Aleutians, lower 40s for Kodiak Island, and in the 40s here for south central Alaska, could try to push 50 in the Susitna Valley. And then the lows for Wednesday morning, upper 20s to lower 30s, south central Alaska, 15 to 20 for Copper River Basin. And right around 20 or 15 to 20 also for the eastern interior there to the Arctic Village location, single numbers for the Arctic coast, and 30s for the Panhandle. Highs Wednesday afternoon, 50 to 55 over the upper and mid Tanana Valley areas, pushing maybe 50, 51, Chalk-Yitzhak, Fort Yukon. Mid to upper 50s, trying to push 60 down toward Klawock and Heidelberg in those areas. Otherwise, 20s for the highs for the Pribilof Islands with that northerly wind coming back into the area there, 30s for the Aleutians.